The battle between good and evil is eternal.
What? So you guys saw my thoughts about the Kombat Pack 1 trailer in the last video, but I'm going to go over them again anyway. So, last place was Peacemaker. I thought he was a weird person to be putting in the game, considering he's more of a new character, and the DCU is dead, so it's kind of a weird character to put in. Then you have Ermac, which I'm not the biggest fan of Ermac, don't hate me for this, but I just don't really have a connection towards that character, even in Mortal Kombat 9 when he looked the best. Then Quan Chi, I feel like he was always a copy of Shang Tsung, but at least he had that controversy thing with Scorpion and whatnot. And then you had Takeda, and Takeda was a great character to add. After all, I absolutely loved the character in Mortal Kombat X. I thought he was really cool with the laser swords and everything. And then you had the two best characters to put on here. The absolute perfect ones. So, the first one was Omni-Man. Now, I had just watched Invincible. And Invincible Season 2 is coming out, so you'll see that in the ranking video whenever it releases. But this is a great character to put in. He was so brutal within the show. And just putting up against Homelander in the same time is just great start. So Homelander, I actually have not seen The Boys yet. I only know that he's basically a bully, a freaking Superman bully, and I've seen a few clips of him doing crazy crap. So yeah, I know about him. I just haven't watched this show yet. But that's what I think about the new guest characters I saw in this trailer. And when I first saw this, I actually saw this walking home from work. So I was exhausted. I was just like looking onto my phone. I'm like, huh? The Kombat Pack 1 trailer? That's early. That's very early. And yeah, that's how I found out. So that gave me the inspiration to make my own Kombat Pack 2 theory video. Now, I'm sure a lot of people do this, but my characters are either more valid, impossible, or crazy to be putting in the game that people would actually really enjoy if they were released. So this first one I'm going to bring up is actually in the trailer itself. Now, hear me out, hear me out. Maybe it's a similar sound, but I'm pretty sure these sounds are the same sound. Listen to this real quick. Listen to it again. And again. So now I'm going to play a clip, one you guys might know very well. And if I'm the only fan that actually caught on to this, I'm very surprised. But here, watch this clip. Listen, I am not crazy. That is Darth Vader's labored breathing in the Mortal Kombat 1 trailer. You cannot convince me that that is just a fluke. a sound design that sounds exactly like Darth Vader's labored breathing. I mean, this. I mean, it could be a canceled collaboration later because I remember Ash's chainsaw being revealed in one of Mortal Kombat 11's trailers. But for now, this is in the trailer. It's real, and Darth Vader may be coming to Mortal Kombat 1's Kombat Pack 2. And this one's kind of hard to believe a little bit because Disney is very strict on their licensing. But, I mean, there's so much you can do with this one character. Like, the lightsaber fatalities, imagine how crazy those would look. Imagine force choking would be one of the fatalities as well. And the moveset would be so much more advanced compared to Soul Calibur whenever they collaborated. And it's not like they haven't collaborated with games before. They've done that plenty. Like they did with Fortnite, they did it with Soul Calibur, like I said. They'll do Star Wars collaborations, but this one's a little bit harder to believe because Fortnite and Soul Calibur are rated T, and that's just for teen, and it's almost kid level, and Disney likes to do those things, while Mortal Kombat is rated M for mature. Now, even with that, I still think Darth Vader could be in the game. Now you're gonna ask, is this just a character thing, or like announce a character, move on to the next character? No, I'm gonna explain movesets that can absolutely work, because I want to give people an idea. Now, I'm not one of those 3D animators that can just create concepts. I mean, there are little out there about concepts or mods, but some of the concepts people come with are insane. And I have a few different things that Darth Vader could use in his combat. So, I'm just gonna go through each one of the different things I think could be in the game. So before, I had thought that this could be like an opening thing, like in Mortal Kombat 11. But the Clash Start intros have totally changed my view of the intros. So I was thinking more of during the clash, he's using the Force to hold him back, and that would probably be a much better opening. And then he backs out, and then he ignites his lightsaber like he did in Rogue One. For the clashing difference, like being pushed or something, he should just be in this position, and then instead of what's being shown here, he could actually just rises up like a badass and ignite his lightsaber. That would be really cool. For his throw, he should pick up somebody physically and then throw him like he threw the guy in the beginning of A New Hope. For one of his special attacks, he should be able to have an attack where it can be used either to deflect like gunshots or different projectiles thrown at him, or to be used as a fury attack against an opponent. Another special attack, you should be able to lift somebody and just lift somebody and get some choking damage while you walk over there and try to get damage or something like that. I don't know exactly how they would do this, but this is just one of my things that they could add. A projectile attack would either be lifting a random object in the room, or just throw his own lightsaber like he does in Fortnite. Now, I don't know anything about combos, so count me out of that. And I'd let NetherRealm Studios come up with their own fatalities, because I'm very sure that there's going to be a nerd that makes some great fatalities for Darth Vader. So they can just cook. I want to see what they can do. So this next character has basically collaborated with every single company that they can get their hands on. Marvel vs. Capcom, Brawlhalla, Fortnite. I mean, this guy and someone else has been going to other games and just getting every collaborative thing ever, including Smash Brothers, except one, and that being Mortal Kombat. And why? Well, that's because he's Ryu from Street Fighter. Now, I know this is kind of a hard one to ask for, because Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are basically rival fighting game companies ever since the 90s, but Honestly, if Lego and Hasbro can make a Lego Optimus Prime, then you could absolutely add Ryu into the game. You know, I was actually commenting Ryu into Mortal Kombat, and a person told me, why not somebody like Akuma? I mean, why Akuma? Listen, I love Akuma. He's like my favorite Street Fighter character out there. But Ryu is way more iconic, and he was in the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth game along with the alphas and everything. Well, Akuma showed up in like an updated version of Street Fighter 2, and has been in every game since. But even though he has some really cool things, Ryu is the one I'm betting. If they want to add another character too, I'd say Chun-Li would be next, or Ken even, because those are characters that have been around longer. Now, I'm not going to ask much, because Ryu is a very easy character to add, as he's already a fighting game character, and he's been not only in Street Fighter, but he's been in Super Smash Bros. And Marvel vs. Capcom. So, I'd say the only thing I want to ask about this character is that when he does fatalities, he taps into the Satsui no Hada. Like, that would be a cool thing to see. Now, another character they could add is a character that people have been requesting for Smash Brothers, and instead he got a Mii character. I know that there's been like a few different people who actually have gotten the boot with that one. But the one I want to talk about is that he's actually was in a Smash Brothers clone. He's been in Marvel vs. Capcom, and he is Dante. And Dante is just one of the coolest characters I've seen so far. I've played Devil May Cry 1, and I plan to play the rest of the series in the next few years. But he's already in Marvel vs. Capcom, and they already got the fighting stuff taken care of. But yeah, I feel like there's another character that would be kind of difficult and kind of impossible, because he's also made by Capcom, who created Street Fighter and everything, along with Devil May Cry. So that's probably a lot harder. Now I could definitely see Dante coming into Street Fighter 6 at one point as a guest character to try to upgrade their guest character status or something. One thing about Dante that's different from Ryu in terms of getting into a Mortal Kombat game is that Dante is much more brutal, and he has blood in his games. I mean, that kind of makes sense since the first one was originally supposed to be a Resident Evil game. But he makes a little bit more sense than Ryu. I mean, I get it, Ryu's a fighting game character, but if we're talking about a brutal character, Dante has lots of different moves he can use for brutal things. I mean, he's got guns and swords, for crying out loud. Now, as I said, he was in Marvel vs. Capcom and PlayStation All-Stars, so he's already experienced being in different fighting games for sure. So for Dante's Fatality, I really want Virgil to be with him and do that whole jackpot thing in Devil May Cry 3. And if they ever put friendship into the game, I want that dance from Devil May Cry 5, the Michael Jackson-like dance, as I feel like it would totally fit his character. This next one, I feel like a lot of people have asked for, and I actually heard from the developers that people really pitched for this character, and these characters aren't lost because Terminator was meant to be for MKX, but it got put to MK11 instead. So we could possibly, this isn't as much proof as the Darth Vader one, but we could be getting Doomslayer. Now, Doomslayer got a Mii costume in Smash only, so that really sucked. I want them to be in both games, but I kind of want Doomslayer mostly to be in Mortal Kombat, because that definitely fits his area. I mean, his brute strength and everything, sure, he won't have much dialogue at all, but he'll still look hella cool, for sure. And he has so much weaponry and everything to be a perfect character for the roster. Now, Doomslayer's gameplay would probably be similar to RoboCop, with using most of his weapons and such instead of combat. But there are different weapons he could use for different things, like the sword. I forgot what the sword's called. don't care at the moment. I've never played Doom Eternal. I've only played Doom 2016. The Crucible, there we go. But I feel like his fatalities could be first-person fatalities, and you basically just tear him apart like you would a demon or something. Alright, so there were different characters out there that could work, but I couldn't really think of any more on the top of my head except for this last one. Now this last one was actually so brutal that the 90s could not handle this character, so they had to put him into a PG category. Now this character is The Mask. Now, I'm sure you guys know The Mask because, you know, Jim Carrey played him and everything, and it's a great fit. It really fits. But they, as I said, they couldn't handle it back then, but the comics were like brutal. Like very, very brutal and terrifying to the audience. And as I said before, the 90s just couldn't handle it. That's why they had to dub it down a bit. Now this is a character that I feel like would really work. I mean, they added Joker not long ago, but this character would look so good, and he would be such a funny character to use. Now for his attacks, I'd say that I'd let them cook on this one too, because The Mask is just a crazy character. They could reference both from the comics and from the movie, but his fatalities and everything would be so awesome. Yeah, that was basically all the characters that I wanted to game. Wait, hold up. I remembered something. I remembered something. There's a character. Now, just bear with me. INKGA10 player 1 wins. I'm kidding, no. It would be cool if I was in the game, but I'll wait till I release my Pride and Awesomeness. Then I'll probably will be an actual character that could be in the game. But that's only if my series would get popular. But yeah, that's all the characters. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys, believe me about the Darth Vader thing. It's no coincidence. It's gotta be there. Darth Vader has to be in Mortal Kombat 1. I mean, there's no other way they could do that. They could just put that sound in the trailer and not be Darth Vader. But yeah, that's good. Everybody, please make sure to like, subscribe, and here's my new outro. Peace.
We await your return, warrior.